Okay. Prince Warriors, Volume 2, Chapter 4, The Useless Seed. Evan knocked frantically on the door of Manuel's house and rang the doorbell several times. After a few minutes, the door finally opened. A man with a short crew cut glowered at him over half-rimmed glasses, a book in his hand. Evan took a small step backward. He had never actually met Manuel's father before, although he had seen him picking Manuel up at the rec center a few times. Mr. Santos was always really stern and silent. He never talked to anyone. Manuel had said his dad was a college professor, and so Evan figured he was probably really smart and didn't have much time for people who weren't as smart as he was. Or maybe it was because Manuel's mom had died the year before, and his dad was really still sad about that. "Can I help you?" asked Manuel's dad in a clipped Spanish accent. Something in his dark gaze made Evan quake a little, as if he had picked the absolute worst time to visit. Hello, Mr. Santos. I'm Evan from over there." Evan indicated the property across the street. "I'm a friend of Manuel's. I was getting off the bus, and I saw something in the window up there. I thought there might be trouble." "Trouble?" the man sighed, his expression softening a bit. "There is no trouble, I can assure you. That's just Manuel doing an experiment. Happens all the time." "What did you say your name was?" "Evan." "Oh, yes, Evan. Manuel mentioned you, I believe. Come in if you want." He called up the stairs. "Manuel, Evan está aquí?" Evan glanced around quickly as he moved toward the staircase. He noticed a room to his left. The door was ajar, and he could see that it was jammed with books and papers. Probably Mr. Santos' study. The shelves contained what looked like lots and lots of rocks and artifacts and stuff that smart people collect. He was just about to look away when something caught his eye. There, centered on the stately wooden desk, was a book. A large book with pages that seemed worn and aged. Something about it, the size, the frayed edges, the sketched image he could see faintly on the open page, all of it seemed familiar to Evan. He squinted curiously and leaned closer toward the door to get a better look, but Mr. Santos blocked his way, half closing the door. "Go on up, first door on the left. Excuse me, I have some work to do." Manuel's dad slipped through the door, shutting it behind him. Evan shrugged to himself and darted quickly up the stairs. He went down the hallway, past a door on his right, a neat bedroom with hardly anything in it. Manuel wasn't in there. Evan kept going until he reached the door on the left. It was slightly open, so he peeked in through the opening, then knocked lightly. There was no response. He could see Manuel hunched over something, working intently, but Evan couldn't tell what he was doing. Evan carefully pushed the door open and gazed around the room. He had never seen anything like it. Manuel's room looked more like a mad scientist's laboratory than a bedroom. Books and mason jars containing bizarre specimens lined the shelves along the wall. In the window sat several weird-looking plants in pots. Manuel's desk was covered in more mason jars and beakers, books and papers, and a computer. A mobile of the solar system hung over the bed, on which lay a rumpled bedspread imprinted with a huge picture of Albert Einstein, his spiky wisps of white hair shooting all the way up to the pillow. There wasn't a single bit of shelf space or desk space or even floor space left bare. Manuel was bent over a tiny object hooked up to electrodes. He appeared to be waiting for it to do something. He was so intent on his mission that he didn't even hear Evan knock on the door for the second time. "Manuel," Evan said. Manuel lurched upright, his thick red glasses nearly flying off his face. "Evan," he said, shocked, "what are you? How did you get here?" "I live across the street, remember?" Oh, right, of course, I forgot. I saw something flashing from your window. I thought there was a fire. Flashes? Fire? Manuel looked perplexed. No, there hasn't been anything like that, at least not today anyway. You must be mistaken. He returned to staring at the tiny object as if he had forgotten about Evan already. I definitely saw a flash, Evan said, although he secretly wondered if he had possibly just imagined it. What? Why are you electrocuting a skittle? He pointed to the object that was hooked up to the electrodes. It did look exactly like a skittle. Skittle? Manuel said. Then he shook his head. No, no, this is a seed. Why are you electrocuting a seed? I'm not electrocuting anything. I'm just testing it to see if there is any electrical activity in a seed. Yes, well, it's not an ordinary seed. At least I don't think it is. That's what I'm trying to find out. But it's really no use. It's not doing anything. Manuel pulled the electrodes off the seed and picked it up. He held it in his open hand so Evan could see it better. Still looked like a skittle, a red one. Never saw a seed like that, Evan said. Where did you get it? It belonged to my mother. She kept it in this little jewelry box on her dresser. I used to ask her about it. She said it was special, powerful. What kind of powerful? She never explained that part. Manuel put the seed under the microscope and began turning the knobs. Your mom didn't tell you where she got it? Nope. She said she would someday, but she never got a chance, I guess. Manuel kept his eyes down, but Evan could feel his uneasiness at the topic of his mother. Oh, yeah, my mom does that to me too, Evan said with a little laugh, trying to lighten the mood. I mean, she tells me she'll explain something someday, but then she never does. The two boys smiled at each other. Evan had always thought Manuel was a little weird. For starters, he was more like a grown-up than a kid. He had glasses and really short hair, just like his dad. He even dressed like his dad, in khakis with sharp creases and collared shirts. And he always had his nose in a book or a science experiment. When he talked, he used big words that made the whole conversation turn to mush in Evan's mind. But after that last experiment, I'm so sorry. But after their last adventure, Evan had started to appreciate Manuel's good qualities. He was super smart, for one thing, and Manuel had even proved when he'd retrieved the prison key from the forger that he could be a little brave, too. Your room is pretty wild, Evan said, looking around. He saw a large round rock on a shelf and picked it up. To his surprise, it fell open in his hands, split right down the middle. The inside was purple and swirly, with a hollow center. I think I broke this. He showed the two halves to Manuel. Manuel glanced up to see what Evan was looking at. No, you didn't. It's a geode, Manuel said. My dad cut it open to show me the crystals on the inside. Cool. So how did the crystals get inside the rock? It's hard to explain. Imagine a hollow in the ground like a rabbit hole. Water seeps into the hole. Water is full of minerals. It dries up, but the minerals build up and become crystallized. Sweet. Where did you get it? My dad and I went on a geode hunt once in Arizona. My dad likes rocks. He's a geologist. What's that? It's someone who studies rocks. I thought he was a college professor. He is, but he teaches geology. That is cool, said Evan. Do you and your dad go on a lot of trips like that? Not anymore. We used to when my mom was... Manuel's voice dropped off. Then he said in a quieter tone, Anyway, now he spends most of his time in his den when he's not at the college. Oh. So was your mom a geometrist too? Geologist. And no, she was a botanist. A what? She studied plants. Oh. I assumed this seed was some rare specimen. It looks similar to a species from South America, which is where she came from. But when she said it was powerful, Manuel's voice trailed off. Evan could tell he really didn't want to talk any more about his mom. Evan poked around some more. Below the shelf was a crate containing many round, smooth black stones. He tried to pick one up, but it stuck. He had to yank to get it free. Whoa, are these magnets? What? Oh, yes, lodestones, actually. Naturally magnetic rocks. You collect those too? Birthday presents, Manuel mumbled. So you get mostly rocks for your birthday? Sweet. Evan played with the lodestones for a while, using one to pick up a bunch more to see how many he could string together. When he got bored, he wandered over to the window and inspected the goofy-looking plants. One of them looked almost alien, with large red spiky leaves like claws. He reached out to touch it. Don't do that, Manuel said. It bites. The plant bites? It's a Venus flytrap. Really? It's from Venus? No, not actually. It does trap flies, however, and occasionally fingers. Can I see? Manuel reached over and touched a leaf with a pencil. The leaf closed quickly, like a jaw clamping shut. Cool, said Evan. Maybe I'll get one of these for Xavier for Christmas. I just won't tell him what it does. He giggled until it's too late. Listen, I'm going to have to stop reading because I'm choking to death, so I will try to read some more later.